Hey everyone, it's Larry here at LC Model Shipbuilding, and this episode we're going to be doing our aft lifeboats. Got them on. They look really amazing. I'm really happy with them. So they are China 3D lifeboats, and then China 3D davits, and KA blocks and line, the rope it goes basically down to it, and then a couple little rigging tricks. I show how I rig them up. Basically, nothing hard. I mean, they just turned out amazing though. So thank you very much for watching. Please give a like and subscribe, and let's get started. Okay, so I did this side already. I just wanted to basically experiment around before I went and did a video on what I'm doing here for this, because you know, it took a little bit of figuring out. I guess that's the best word for it, because what we're doing is pairing China 3D lifeboats with China 3D davits, KA pulleys and blocks, and then the KA fencing and all that kind of stuff that goes back in there. So it's a little bit of finagling. Everything does end up fitting. It works out okay. I'm pretty darn happy with it when it comes down to it, because they really do look good. But I'm going to show in this video what I did. I know a couple other videos have been out there on the lifeboats, but that's okay. So these are basically what they look like, and once I get them off, I will repaint them a little bit, just to touch up. But I was trying to get basically a white coat down beforehand. Now there's two different styles here. You have the cranes, or the davits, that are straight up and down. I'm putting them up on the bow. And you have the ones that are angled, which are going to go on the aft section here. So what I'm doing to kind of take care of these marks that are left from the kit build with the chucks that would go under the lifeboats, I managed to pretty well hide them in what I'm going to do here. So what I'm using is a little bit of my sand beige paint, and first step we're going to do is just basically paint over the spot there. Now the paint match is decent, but it's not perfect. I'm not trying to get it perfect, because we're going to come in then with a little bit of wood over top of it, and I'll show you that in a minute. Basically just using some remnants of the scale deck, and these are covered by the boats anyhow, so you really can't see it once it's done. But if I didn't do this, you'd be able to see it from underneath, because you'd just see a black line there, and obviously I don't want that. Oops. Now, I'm still going to end up weathering the deck a little bit too, so that may help in this a little bit too, to kind of hide and mask it. But let's see. But like I said, once you do it, and you have the boats covering it, it really is not noticeable at all. So probably just going to live with how it is. I don't think Scale Decks offers a deck that doesn't have these cutouts already in it, unfortunately. If I would have used the KA, I believe those provisions are not there, because the KA kit calls for you to remove them, so it kind of makes sense, but it is what it is, so we'll just kind of deal with it. Okay, uh-oh, I got some paint on my funnel stay. Alright. And they're not going to be in this video, sorry. That's going to be a whole nother video, but they are prepped and ready to go. So anyway, got that done. I'm going to let that dry a minute. Next up, what I'm going to do is start painting these, and I'm using the same color actually because it matches with the thread I'm using. So I'm using leftover thread from my Constitution build. Now this is really nice thread for model ships. It's not your typical thread that you buy on you know, in Walmart or wherever in the store for sewing. This stuff does not get any fiber along it, so a lot of times when you look at thread really close, you'll see little fibers hanging off of it. This does not do that. This is a I believe it's a hemp thread, but really nice stuff. It comes in multiple different sizes. This is a, what is it, 25-100. So I used that quite a bit on Constitution, but see, this is also, there's a smaller size too, but I went a little bit thicker. I think I went with the right size for what I'm doing, so I feel good with it. So anyway, this sand beige paint is essentially the same color I want these rope lines to be in the yard and blocks here, or I don't even, no, it's not a yard, in the blocks for the lifeboats. So basically I'm just going to kind of run right up and down here and paint them up, and then when I get that done, I'm just going to go over it with a dull coat so that they don't scratch when I'm taking them off. These are a little bit fiddly, I'm gonna say, when you go to install them, putting them on. They just they tend to like to come apart because of the bend angle that they're going into, but I'm sure you'll get to see that as we go here. So we're going to paint all of the ropes here this tan, and then we're going to paint the blocks black, and we'll let them dry. So I'm going to finish up this little run right here of them, and then I'm going to flip it over and do the back side, and then once it dries, I'll do the block, and then yeah, I'll go ahead and get the dull coat on it. The other thing that's on this part here are the white chains. So these are support chains that go back here on the back side to hold the boats on. We'll install them later. They're white, so I'll get them on a while, and we'll go from there. So I already do have the fencing painted, so I won't bother really showing that process since it's already done, but I will show how to put the fences on and kind of what I did with them. A buddy of mine made a comment about the lower rungs on the fence, so I left them, and I'll show them more when we're doing the actual fencing, but like if you look at Honor and Glory, it doesn't appear it has the lower support, but honestly, with this build being mobile and going to be sailing and all that, I'm actually okay with having them there. They'll just kind of add a little bit of added support, but like I said, I'll show you that when we get to it. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up painting these, and I'll put this on pause for a minute, and then we'll come back once we're all painted up. Okay, so I have our pieces drying now with the clear coat on them, so that's what they look like. I didn't do these yet. I've just been kind of painting them as I go because they actually are kind of time consuming to do that, but that's okay. So anyway, in the meantime, I'm going to work on getting the davits off of the sprue, and how the China 3D pieces are. These are pretty much all the front ones. Now there is a rear one, not a rear, but an aft one on this sprue. I'm just trying to find it right now. It's one of the corner pieces. And why am I not seeing it? Oh, there it is, right there in the front. So, two of them are on there, and then the rest of them are on the other piece. So, what I've basically done for these so far, as taking them off, is try to break the smaller sprue here. Oh, that is not the one. That is for the front. My mistake. this is it. No, that's not it either. Well, where in the world did it go? It's not that one. It's that one. I see it. Okay, so got to take that one off first. They do get a little confusing to look at. I'm going to just set that off to the side. And we want this one here that has a curve. You can see it kind of, the arm is curved up. Okay. Now, these are the black China 3D ones. They offer them in the pink, which is the most brittle. It's the older version. The gray, which is a little bit less brittle, but still quite brittle. And then the black, which is actually flexible. So, see, you can flex it and you don't have to worry about, you know, it getting caught or damaging it. I know on my 1350, that was an issue with the photo etch, and I've read the issues with the KA ones, so it's good to have the flexible part. I like it. Now, these have a little pulley right there, and I'm going to have to touch up some of the white. Like I said, once I get these off the sprue, I'm going to spray them quick before I paint, but that will be brass. And then that rod that goes through here is also brass, so I got to paint that up. Now, what I found on these, I've had quite a bit of success with just simply taking a knife right down it, and it's come right off the sprue quite easy, without having to use the heat one. So, there, that's basically it. And that one will end up right here once we get it painted up. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of them off. I'm going to put them onto tape and a popsicle stick, very much like this, and then repaint them white. And then after that, we'll do our brass details in there. And I'll come back after, while this is drying, I'll come back and we'll do our decking right in here. So, be right back. Okay, so what we're going to do now, while I'm waiting for those to dry, is just cut some very thin strips of the deck. And that went under it. I have this cut to the right width, where it should just basically cover over pretty well. So all we're going to do, let's get a little dab of glue here. And there's actually a spot that the deck is lifting a little bit there on the edge. So I want to address that real quick. So all we're going to do for that is take a little glue underneath here and just run it right along the edge here. And then I'm going to just push it down and hit it with a little bit of activator. And there we go. Now we're nice and flush. Okay, so anyway, what we're going to do with our little piece of deck here is take it in our tweezers, and then we're going to put a couple little dibbles, driplets, whatever you want to call them, glue right along that, and then I'm just going to drop it on. And of course it's not going to just drop on like the other side did. Why would it? Okay, there we go. There. Now, it's not perfect. Once I hit some dull coat on it, that will get rid of that too, so it'll be good. I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of them. And again, this doesn't have to be a big strip, obviously. It's not a large spot, and it's barely even noticeable. But the other factor to remember is the bottom, oh no, upside down. The bottom of the China 3D boats don't have that full length piece that the Trumpeter kit had. So I'll show you. This goes here essentially, and it only is that long, which is more accurate to what the ship really was. And KA also did not address that properly, so this is the correct way that these boats should have been. Okay, I'm gonna do one more of these strips, but I think you pretty much get the idea, and then I'll pause it, and when we come back, we'll do our placement of the davits next. So we're going to put davits on, and then we're going to put our fencing on. But yeah. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, those are done. So now our davits are painted, or not painted, but dry from the white. So what I'm going to do is hit our pulley wheels here, and I found that if I just kind of go along the top there, that gets the back of it pretty decent as you're going. Come down here on the side, and then you have these two bars in here, and they're really not that bad to paint. I thought this was going to be a little bit worse, but really pretty straightforward. Okay, there's that one, so you can see what that looks like. And then the front here, these become silver, so I'll paint them next. And then the single ones are essentially the exact same thing, just a single instead of a double. A little easier to get to the brass rod though, without having a arm on both sides. Okay. So we'll get these painted up, and then we'll do our silver spot there, and then we'll start mounting them. The first lifeboat, placing it, doing the rigging, probably took me a good hour and a half or more to get it where I wanted it. The next three, I moved substantially faster, so this is all kind of just a matter of figuring out what you want to do, how you want to do it, and then just getting it done then at that point. But the hardest part about these are the fact that there's so many of them, and if you don't do them the exact same way, it'll be noticeable. So it's just important to get kind of a technique down that you want it to be, and then roll. But they're not bad. I remember doing the photo etch for the 1350 with the lifeboat davits, and I absolutely hated it. It had to be probably the worst experience on that build. So these are substantially easier. All right, now let me get my silver. I don't know if it's silver or aluminum, but whatever. And put a couple people on so far too. I mean, that's just a fraction of what we're going to be doing, because I have a ton of people. I think I have 3 sets now, which obviously some of them are below decks and all that already, but it should really give a cool effect. And I did have to order one more sheet of deck chairs as well. I ran out up on the Compass platform up here, so I thought about doing the leftover brass ones that I have, but they're not going to match exactly. They won't look the same, and it being especially on the top boat deck, I want to make sure I have the exact same thing as what I'm doing. So yeah. All right, so now these go in, so basically like that. Now the markings from the original kit on the deck is fine, no issue there in using that. So what you want to do is make sure you have them good and smooth, obviously, on the bottom. You don't want any little straggly pieces left over. And then you're just going to dip it in glue and drop it onto the spot that it's supposed to go. Pretty simple. Not a whole lot of measuring needed or anything like that. Those guide holes actually work quite perfect. Another little trick I learned, you might hear kind of a buzzing in the background there. It's obviously summer right now, so that's not an air conditioner. I'm actually using a dehumidifier in my basement here, which significantly has helped paint dry. That was kind of a byproduct of just having a humid basement, but it really has made a world of difference in the amount of time that it takes for paint to dry. So just a, I don't know, idea, I guess, to throw it out there. Okay. There we go. So the boats are on. Now our next step is our little fencing, and that again is KA, and there it is. So those are already painted up, and this is pretty basic in what we're doing here, but they are fiddly, and once you have them on, they do make it a little bit more challenging to kind of move around, but not bad. So one thing that you will notice, I mean, if you're looking really close, I have these ones a little bit closer. Now this one a little bit closer than the rest of them. So the boats are just a little bit off size from what the KA boats would have been, and if I took them all the way to join together, it just won't look right, because I played with it a couple times and I wasn't happy. This one is a little bit farther out than I wanted it to be compared to the rest of them, but not really that noticeable. I mean, you probably wouldn't have even noticed if I wouldn't have said anything. but that was just a little bit of experimentation. I should have used blue tack first, but I did not, like an idiot. But now that I kind of know where these land with the boat configuration, I feel real confident over on this side, so much less worried about it here. Okay. I do have that one inset just a little bit. That's a little bit on purpose so that it clears those chains when it's when the boat's actually set. So again, with the fencing and really all photo etch, I still highly suggest doing a coat of clear over it. This stuff would be scratching up like crazy if I did not have it cleared. So just a suggestion, heads up, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so that's what they look like. I'm going to put the rest of them on, and then we'll do the little, it's not a winch, I think it's like it's not a bollard. I have to find the exact name of what they're called, but these little guys here that are China 3D, and they get rigging that basically starts down there. Well, actually, it starts at the boat, comes down to the block, up to here, and I have it joined kind of on the block, comes across, and then back down, but I fake that. You'll see what I do here when it comes time, but we still got to put those on before we're ready for mounting boats. Okay, now trying to get them essentially on the same plank so that they're even. I was mildly worried about working on this from the other side like this, but in all honesty, I kind of prefer this angle to it from being right in front of it like I was the first time around. This actually feels better, if that makes sense, because when I was working right in here, I had it like right in front of me. Like I said, I'm actually enjoying kind of going across. It just feels better. Oh, earlier I was talking about the suggestion my buddy had about taking that bottom rung off, and I'll show you here when I cut this. What he was saying, and he's right, he's not wrong, the bottom rung on here, like right there, should not be there. So basically I should be cutting so that these three uprights would be my mounting point. I just have a lot of concern with doing that on a model that is going to actually sail and be moved and all the stuff that I'm going to be basically asking this to do. I just don't think it's in my best interest to try that. So if it were a static model, yeah, probably. But sometimes you have to make sacrifices when you want to do RC and make it a movable build. I'll live with it. It's a really minor detail that I don't think most people would ever notice. But he did, and I appreciate that though. Okay, I'm going to do this one here, and then I'm going to pause it and finish out the last one, and then come back and we'll do the those bollards or tie-off, whatever they're called. Those things that I was talking about. So let me just glue this one down, and then I'll pause, and we'll be back. Okay, I'm gonna pause it. I didn't like how that was turning out. Be right back. Okay, I already put the first couple down. These are fairly simple though, so I have them right on the edge here, and I just kind of cut away as I'm going. Cut the little bit of sprue off, then I grab it with the tweezer, kind of hold it with my finger here. These are very small, and it's important that you get a decent glue connection, because you are going to be tying to them, so you need them to have function as well. So I just put them into a pretty good little puddle of glue and drop it on, and I'm just trying to get them kind of in the same spot with all of it. I know it's not perfect, I'm not measuring it, but by the eye, it's doing what I need it to do, so no big deal, I don't think. Okay, and you can't really see it. I know you can't see it in the video because I already looked, but they are basically like a base with kind of a T thing on it. It's the best way to explain it, so that when you tie there, the knot goes around it. That's closer than I want it to be. And I'm gonna have to re-glue. And don't get too concerned about getting little glue marks here and there, because as long as you hit this with a what do you call it, a clear coat afterwards, you're going to be fine. But you got to make sure that you're not getting your windows at the same time, like the clear windows, because it will frost them, and that will be a bad deal. So I'm going to airbrush my clear coat on when that time comes, and I will do it very carefully, and I'll cover up. I'll definitely cover up the dome, because you can see that dome right through there now, and that's pretty gorgeous. And I'll try to cover up all my main windows as well, that you can see into the interior spaces with. Oh, come on. Stuck to the tweezer. There we go. Okay, so that's them. Now, our next step is going to be tying around to them. So we need my string that I had, and I know I had it because I showed it to you. But where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Alright, so here's what I have been doing for these. Essentially, we're going to tie one little knot around it. And it's just a simple cross knot like that. It's not a cross knot, I don't even know what knot you call this, but you know, the most basic of knots that you can possibly make. So we put that on there. Now, you try not to drop that on there, but as you can see, these are flexible and they did no damage. I make the one side a little bit longer, so that's this side. And then the other side is going to be a little bit shorter. And again, doing it actually from the other side is significantly easier, which really, really surprises me. So I did this on the other side right in front of me, but I needed like tweezers and all kinds of nonsense that I'm not going to need here. Okay. So we get it decently tight, which I'm not yet. There we go. And what we're going to do now is take a small dip of glue right on the tip there on both of them. Let that dry for a second. Now this one can be shorter, like I said. We only need it to be, call it an inch or so roughly. And that's that. So that one is pretty much ready to accept the boat. Now, what we're going to do is grab one of our boats. You want to make sure your flags are going that way. So just like that. So this is the correct boat for this side that we're doing right now. And I'm going to put some glue on the base here. And I'm going to drop it in just so that there's a little bit of overhang. Not much, but just a tiny bit over the side of the deck. And you want to make sure you get them pretty straight too. Okay, I don't know if I got enough glue on there or not. I'm gonna say, I think it'll be okay. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so next up, we're gonna take our blocks and zoom out a minute. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this because the shadow is blocking it, but there's only 3 little sprues that hold it on, so I'm going to cut them away real quick. Now, like I told you earlier, these are a bit of a pain. They are meant to take 3 and make them into 1. Now, like I said, we're adapting this because these are meant for the KA boats, and we're not using the KA boat. So you're going to fold it. Then you're going to take the folded piece and come back onto the center and fold it again. And 50-50, they will break and you'll have to end up gluing them. Not a big deal, but it's just reality, so be ready for that. Now this one is going to fold back onto the back side. If I don't break this, I'll be amazed. And then finally, your last one will fold back onto that one. And what this does is create depth to your block here. And I think that one just separated. So now we have our ropes, which you can hopefully see, and our blocks with a hookup on the top there. And they seem to be okay. So that's essentially what you want. Now, what we're going to do from here, I'm going to set it on there, on the davit, just like that, and kind of let it hang. I like to go in pretty much as far as it'll let me go in, which is about there. I'm not attaching it to the boat yet, as you can see. So the boat gets a couple attachments here, basically. So like I said, it starts at the boat itself, comes down to that tie-off block. So we're going to take a little dab of glue right there, and we're going to let it sit. I'm going to hit it with some promoter, just in the interest of time. Then I'm going to put a little dab of glue on that block up there, and I'm going to put my string that's left over onto the block. Like basically make it look like it's riding on that block. Just like that. Okay. So now that that is set, I kind of like going the other angle though, because we have the curvature of the boat. Try this left-handed, hopefully. There we go. That one's on. I can cut this with the scissor, and that's actually going to end up helping to support the crossover piece in a second. So over here, we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to take my shorter string first. And dip my finger in CA glue, so that's helpful. I'm going to go right there. Okay, now this one is slightly different, not much so. We're going to bring it up. Oh, I didn't put the other block on there yet. So we need our block first. So let me get that cut out and folded. Sorry, you'll have to watch that again, but that's okay. It'll give you more experience, if nothing else. So, like I said, 50% of the time, these have broken on me. So I would assume that this one probably will. But maybe we'll get lucky. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and fold this one here too, since we're here. Okay, so now one side folds in and one side folds around. Yep, we got a break. That's okay. 9 times out of 10, it ends up taking longer if it doesn't break than if it does. So okay. Gotta keep them separated though. And this one needs to fold back. And we're break off. Okay, I knew it was gonna break. Okay, so we have this one, and I'm just kind of pulling on it to get the tension back on the ropes. I did scratch it a little bit, so I'll have to repaint. That's okay. That will happen multiple times doing this. Okay, so just gonna put a dab of glue there and a dab of glue there. And you want to make sure you have the opposite side, so you have the hook being in the middle, not on one side or the other. Okay. There we go. Good as new. And we're going to end up bending these anyhow a little bit, so it's not that big of a deal that they get bent up. And part of that reason is just using these these China 3D Lifeboats versus the KA. So it is what it is. They look okay once it's done, and I'm happy with it. So again, we're going to take our string here, we're going to put some glue on our block there, and we're going to get it set. And now we're going to put a little bit of glue on our lifeboat right there where that little divot is. And then how I've been doing this is basically just pushing the block back to it, and then I kind of push it forward. It gives it a little bit of slack look in it, and that's okay. I'm good with it. Same thing over here. That block's separated, so I need to add a little bit more glue. Okay. So now, let me cut that piece of string off the boat. And the glue separated. There's a lot of tricks to rigging like this where you're actually not tying anything, you're gluing. A lot of people don't realize that when it comes to doing any kind of model ship of rigging that has a lot of rigging in it. like Constitution, I learned a ton of tricks with it for rigging that are actually now becoming quite valuable. Okay, I'm gonna end up doing some of this. There we go. Okay, so now I just need to cut that away, and now we have rope starts here, comes down, wraps around there, comes up here, comes across, and yep, that's it. That's exactly what I wanted. Got the effect we're looking for, and when you look at it, you'll be none the wiser. And that's it. So, I'm gonna go ahead and do the next 3, and I'll be back. Okay, so all of those are done. Hopefully you can see them. The last thing we have left to do is the chain that goes on them, and I'm going to end up making a video, I believe, for the bow lifeboats too, because the cutters will be slightly different and the poles go up straight and all that kind of stuff, so there will be a little bit of difference to the front of the ship, so I figure I might as well just go ahead and do a video for them. Like I said, I didn't really plan on doing one, but yeah, it's probably going to be worthwhile, so we'll do that. But basically, putting these on, I put them on the bottom first, and then I attach them to the side of the ship. Nothing overly difficult. I will tell you, out of the 2 ways of doing this, like having the lifeboats right in front of me here and having them across from me, I much prefer having them across from me. So you may be different, but just from what I'm finding in my adventure here, it's the better way to go. Come on. It attached to the tweezer, unfortunately. Sometimes that happens, but yeah. I know my front ones on the bow there will be definitely done across the ship in this way. So, just my opinion. Freaking tweezers. Let me clean them off a second, because we're never going to get this on if the glue's sticking to the tweezer. Okay, 3rd time's the charm. We'll get it. I have faith. Oh, on these chains also, the big side, there's kind of a big side and a small side, goes down to the deck. The small side goes up to the boat. There we go. So I'll put on one more, hopefully not have any glue issues this time around, and pretty much wrap up this video. I do hope this helps some people out there building this this build. If you're doing it in the same format as I am, with a combination of China 3D and KA. So obviously that's what these videos are about, trying to help people build their ship the best they possibly can. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm an expert either. I mean, I just kind of a guy that can see detail and try to make it real. But like I said in my last video, we are going to be doing the Bismarck soon. So starting to do some research onto that ship. But in between that, I am going to do the remainder of Constitution and the Trans Am build that we started. Both of them I don't foresee taking that long. Constitution, I essentially have rat lines left, lifeboats left, and a little bit of rigging to go. I really enjoyed that build. I just kind of wanted to get started on this one last year, and that's why it ended up kind of sitting. But as this one wraps up, I really want to get back to finishing stuff that I started. I hate having stuff incomplete like that, and I do already have the Constitution up in my office, and I mean, she gets all kinds of compliments as she is, but it would be just nice to have it 100% complete. So yeah, that's kind of the plans here. So we have Bismarck, Constitution, Trans Am, and then there's also a Cuddy Sark build that I plan on doing in 196, so that'll be another sail ship, which will be fun. And then there's also always the possibility that Trumpeter will put out the Britannic kit. I would be very interested in doing that one. A lot more interested in that than doing Olympic, because Olympic would just feel so much more the same as what I've already done with this. There just isn't enough difference to it to make it feel worthwhile to me to go into a crazy massive build. But Britannic is a whole different story. So, there we go. That wraps it up. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time here at LC Model Shipbuilding.